At long last, the Guardians of the Galaxy are finally back, with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 finally upon us. And the movie is set to carry a certain level of gravitas with it. Today we're counting down the top 5 reasons why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is set to be an emotional roller coaster. For this list, I've analyzed the real-life news and the first Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer, and this is what I found. So without further delay, let's get right to the list.
5.
The first one, at number 5, is a long time in the making. Like mentioned in the trailer, the Guardians have been away for a while, at very least when you're looking at the perspective of just the Guardians movie. The reason was because on July 20th, 2018, James Gunn was fired from Marvel, thus delaying any progress to the Guardians of the Galaxy movie being released. And on March 15th, 2019, they rehired him back. However, during that time, James Gunn was hired to make Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, which in turn delayed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Then, of course, the world went to hell and further delayed every project, let alone Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be 6 years since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was released, and is currently the biggest gap between sequels in the MCU. It has been a long time coming with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it's almost a surreal moment to finally have this movie coming. But it's also going to be its last movie, so it's surely going to be a sad end as they are gone, and they've been a staple in the MCU since the debut in 2014.
4.
Coming in at number 4 is Gamora is finally back with the team. With Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1 and Part 2, the story between both movies actually only take place within a couple of months of each other. The next time we see the Guardians after that is Infinity War, which is set in 2018. So that's 4 years between the two. And during that 4 years, there's obviously a lot of stuff the Guardians did and a lot of character development. In Infinity War, you can kind of see the romance when they're talking on the ship there. After Gamora dies, it sends Star-Lord into a spiral. Basically, the snap occurred due to Star-Lord being so upset. The good news is, in Endgame, due to time travel, Gamora is alive. But this is not the same Gamora that fell in love with Star-Lord. As a result, at the end of the Endgame, Gamora is not with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Although it's not noted, in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, Star-Lord just seems to be tired and depressed and sad. The whole movie is about cheering Star-Lord up, and Mantis thinks it's more or less due to the fact that he misses Christmas. But I don't know if this is really the case, since Star-Lord is never really on Earth to celebrate Christmas anyway. So is the real reason just due to not having Gamora in his life and he's going through depression? From what we can tell from the new trailer, Gamora is back with the Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't know why, how, or anything else, but in the trailer we can see that Gamora joins them. And perhaps this Gamora will also fall in love with Star-Lord, and this can be a very heartwarming story. Maybe she'll get her memories back or some timey-wimey stuff.
3.
Coming in at number 3 is Rocket, and everything about Rocket. Rocket is a very important character within the Guardians of the Galaxy. He is the only Guardian that survived the snap if you don't count Nebula, who was not really a Guardian in the first 2 movies. Rocket seems to suffer from PTSD from the experiments that made him who he is. And in this movie, he seems to be going back to the place where he was created. How do I know this? Well, it looks like they go to an Earth-like planet set in the 70s, 80s type thing, but all the humans are just actually animals with intelligence and everything, and Rocket is an animal with intelligence, so perhaps this is where he was created. So especially in the trailer, we see baby Rocket and everything like that, so there seems to be some kind of relation there with the setting of the movie and Rocket's origin. Also, when we see Rocket being arrested in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, in that iconic scene with the Nova Corp taking their photos, information about the Guardians, and in particular Rocket. One of his aliases is Layla, and who is that? Well, we see her in the trailer. This is the otter that hugs Rocket. So let's look at a couple of other interesting factors at Rocket. First, Rocket in the Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1 said raccoons don't have very long life. Well, he didn't say raccoon, of course, but he doesn't have a very long life. And that movie was set in 2014. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 takes place after Endgame. That is set in 2023. And if Spider-Man No Way Home / Hawkeye took place in Christmas of 2023, I guess, thus meaning the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that just recently came out would have taken place at Christmas in 2024, assuming Volume 3 takes place after all those other events. A normal Earth raccoon reaches maturity around 2 years of age and can live up to 20 years old. When Rocket Raccoon is introduced to the Guardians of the Galaxy, a movie set in 2014, he is a fully grown. His age is not revealed, but based on this intensive criminal record, he has been committing crimes for some time. He has escaped from 22 prisons, at least 7 of which he had happened before he even meets Groot, who has only escaped prison 15 times. Assuming he did not get arrested every other week, starting at the age of 2, he must be around 4 years old in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And then he survives the snap from Infinity War, and by the time we see him again in Endgame, this is 2023, this puts him at a minimum age of 13 years old. So add in a couple years that went by, as mentioned before, so he should be around 15 in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, assuming the experimentations didn't alter his life expectancy one way or the other. So he should only have around 5 years left. He's basically already a senior citizen for that reason.
2.
Coming in at number 2 is a death of a member. So this could be Rocket, and that would be definitely very sad, but we don't really know. All we do know in the trailer is Rocket seems to be beaten up, and he's lying on the ground looking up and says, "We'll all fly away together one last time." Drax, he took some kind of a chest wound. And then, of course, this all leads up to a scene with Star-Lord being very, very upset because somebody is hurt. And there's like a black or maybe a dark red substance dripping. So this almost comes off as someone who has recently died. So if you like this content and want to see more content, please subscribe to my video and like this video and follow for more.
1.
Coming in at number 1 is the last James Gunn project with the MCU. As we all know, James Gunn has moved on to DC to be their Kevin Feige, and this Guardians of the Galaxy movie will be his final project within the MCU. We see that in the trailer. There is much of a theme of this is the end. There is going to be no more Guardians. Also, it seems like Dave Bautista is over playing Drax just due to his age. So I am sure we'll see some of the members from Guardians of the Galaxy over time in various Avengers movie or like an Adam Warlock movie. But other than that, I don't think we'll have someone else take over the Guardians of the Galaxy property from James Gunn. And nor should they. I will say this, the Guardians of the Galaxy were perfectly fine in Infinity War, directed by the Russo brothers and not directed by James Gunn. So it's not like nobody else can direct them, but at very least, this trailer truly does feel like the end of an era for the Guardians of the Galaxy. As for what happens next, I can say this. James Gunn and all the actors, writers involved did a fantastic job of Guardians of the Galaxy. When you look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, it felt like kind of a stretch. Like, this movie won't work. You're talking like, what, maybe a C or a D-list comic book franchise? Most people, even big comic book fans, didn't even know who the Guardians were before this movie. This isn't Spider-Man. This isn't even Cap or something like that. This is scraping the bottoms of the barrel. So Gunn's legacy with Marvel will be making the improbable probable, taking a comic book movie that no one thought would make it big time and making it mainstream media, giving shots to actors who are wrestlers, or even Chris Pratt making his career go from a comedy actor on a TV show, I mind you, a great TV show, but making him that next level big, and taking a raccoon and a tree and making them a massive character. When you really think of that formula shouldn't work, but it works so well. And in terms of a sci-fi series, I'm not saying it's as big as Star Wars or Star Trek, but it definitely sure is up there. So, thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll check you guys in the next one.